Hi, everyone. So I just wanted to talk us through this presentation. I'm going to move pretty briefly because we're going to cover a lot of this in our Google Meet, which we'll have together. So when it comes to differentiated assessment, right, we naturally think about assessment in terms of when it should occur, what we're actually assessing, and what kind of assessment might be used. So the purpose of this entire flex, and specifically what we're talking about with Schoology, is how can we do that in an authentic way that benefits us as teachers, right? Not in a selfish woe is us or woe is me, but how can I steward the assessment in a way that's beneficial for the curriculum and content, the student, and the overall classroom environment. Right, so we know there are options of when we can assess. We could do it before to get an idea of where students are. We could do it throughout as a benchmark, or we could do it at the end in terms of a summative assessment. There's multiple things in terms of what we can assess. Maybe we're assessing a specific standard, whether that's a PDE or a national standard. Maybe we are assessing based on a theme, right? We're talking about nationalism, and we've hit a bunch of different countries and nationalistic values that exist there, and we are assessing their understanding of that theme. Maybe it's a specific skill, or maybe it's something where we're asking them to analyze or create, and we're using the Bloom's taxonomy. We can use assessment in terms of, from a purpose perspective, we could use it as a tool to assess what we have instructed, right? Assessment of instruction. We can use it as a tool for instruction, right? We're giving you an assessment as part of the teaching strategy, or we can use it as instruction, meaning we are giving the assessment and then going from there and using that as a jumping point for how we instruct and present content. From a learning perspective and from a special ed perspective, frankly, the goal for assessment is that it becomes an equal part of teaching and learning, right? We don't want as teachers to just assess, and not have our students be authentically showing what they've learned. And assessments are really beneficial for all students, regardless of learning need, because they're helping to increase student self-awareness, to increase self-regulation, metacognition, and students are learning how to compare, okay, here's how I've done on the assessment. That helps me have a basis for, do I really get this concept the way I think I do? And so they become aware of their own growth and subsequently their own needs, and are able to take more agency and autonomy of their learning. So how can we do it? Some of these are just straightforward accommodations and modifications that you may have seen in a 504 and IEP, and some are just creative ways to make assessments more approachable and appropriate for our students. So we can give them additional time. We can use Chrome extensions that allow them to listen to headphones during a test so that they're hearing the questions read aloud to them. We can switch up the wording and the variety of the words that we use in questions. We can lessen the amount of answer options. So if it's a multiple choice, we're saying you pick between A, B, and C, as opposed to A, B, C, and D. We might ask various types of questions: multiple choice, true, false, short answer, or we may keep it to one type depending on the individual and the learning needs there. We may decrease the number of questions overall, right? That would be a modification. Or for our students who maybe have reading or written expression or comprehension needs, we might highlight or bold words that help them streamline and triage. What is this question actually asking me? Schoology is beautiful and complicated, but really nice because it allows us to implement a lot of these strategies that we've been doing for years in a way that is accessible and technologically right with our students who are digital natives. So the hope from this is that we can take this as a launching point and go from there in Schoology.